Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my career story for May 2025. We've got Jim Champion here with us today. Born and raised in South Omaha, Jim Champion discovered his passion for working with his hands early on. That passion led him to automotive training through a partnership between his high school and MCC, setting the stage for a lifelong career in the trades. After working as a collision tech, Jim and his wife purchased Charlie Graham Body and Service in 1987, which they owned for 30 years. Now at MCC, Jim focuses on connecting students in the trades with real-world opportunities through strong industry partnerships. Jim, here we go.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak this morning. So happy to be here. And as was explained, my name is Jim Champion. I'm a pathway coordinator here at Metro Community College. So I've been here about 7 years. And a pathway coordinator, I'll go into it more in depth as we kind of go through the presentation. But basically, I'm connecting industry partners to students and their employees to upskill their own employees in training programs. So that's my role here. Think, kind of apprenticeship type programs, but in these types of programs, the employer is paying for all their training. So it's really a neat type of deal. So again, I'm Jim Champion. I'm a pathway coordinator here at Metro, and good. I was hoping that would work. I'm a Metro grad. So I did that in my PowerPoint presentation, so I'm pretty proud of myself how that flew in there. So happy to be here today. And I think kind of the what's behind my presentation today is a sense of community. We have Metro Community College. I grew up in South Omaha, a great community here in Omaha. And really, since I was a young man, I've been a part of different types of communities all along. And now I'm a part of the Metro community. And I thought maybe I'd go through some slides kind of showing my life from the very beginning, showing, again, how that sense of community was kind of instilled in me. So this is me on my first birthday. I'm this handsome young man right here being held by my sister Ann. So that's first birthday there. And sadly, we lost our dad when I was 8 months old. So this was about 4 months after Dad passed. And we, again, we lived in South Omaha on 21st Street, straight east of South High School. So this was my mom and dad on their wedding day. And this, if I can get kind of out of the way, that's my mom who raised all of us. Her name was Rita. A lot of people called her Reet. And I know she looks a lot fancier in that wedding picture, but this is the mom that I remember day in and day out. That's what mom looked like. She was there for us kids every day. She had 4 kids under the age of 5 when Dad passed away. So she had a lot on her plate, but if you look at that big smile on her face, and just like she's almost ready to bust out laughing, that was her in a nutshell. She just always had that sort of attitude. She always had a can-do type of attitude, and she always also had a we'll figure it out type of attitude. Nothing got her down, and she was the glue, literally, for our family. This is when we moved over. We're the St. Adelbert's area is where we moved to. About 32nd Street between Martha and Vinton. If you know where Dinker's Bar is, with the world's greatest burgers, it was by Dinker's Bar. So again, you could see there, all of us smiles on our faces. Mom's got us out. Totally staged picture, raking. I'm sure, I wasn't sure what I was doing, but it made for a great picture. But you can see by the looks on our faces, it was a happy home. And mom had us just really believing in everything's going to be okay type of deal. So when we moved to this area, we were our only, our small family, us kids and mom, but we fell into a neighborhood that really was our first real sense of community when we moved into there, because in South Omaha, it seemed like every street, but especially our street, everybody, all the parents were everybody's parents. All the kids were out on the streets playing all the time. This is a picture from, well, probably around that time, but that's just a little bit of the kids that were in our neighborhood. Again, the sense of community, all of us kids and all the different families, if we needed something done and it was something that a dad maybe usually did, there were plenty of dads on the street that helped us out. There was just always, if somebody got hurt and you weren't near your house, there would be a different mom or dad that would help you out. That sense of community just abounds in that area. And I can tell you, it was so deep. I was looking at this picture when I put this presentation together. Just about every person in that picture, this is from 60 years ago, I have seen and talked to every person in that picture within the last year. We're still that close. So again, that community was very important. Okay, this is me. That gives you an idea what mom was dealing with. But this starts getting into me wanting to learn how to fix things, and that bike was everything to me. I rode my bike all the time. I did crazy things on my bike. I popped wheelies all over the place. I jumped over garbage cans. I was always crashing my bike, and sometimes that would leave me without a bike until we were able to get it fixed, or to pay somebody to fix it for me, or to actually take it somewhere to a bike shop where they would maybe fix a flat tire or do whatever. Well, I started figuring out, not only did I like working with my hands and fixing things like my bike, but it also made it so I could ride my bike all the time, because I would just fix what was wrong with it, and then I could ride my bike some more. So then I would start fixing other people's bikes too. So just kind of started figuring out that working with your hands really can be something that financially helps you out a bunch, but really it's a really satisfying thing to do day in and day out. And that was kind of my start in the trades, I believe. So as I got a little bit older, you know, everybody likes to read books and do that sort of thing. This was the type of book that I would read. You can see it, the Fix It Yourself manual. I actually got a book like this for Christmas one time, and it was one of the greatest gifts I ever got. So I would just sit down with that book and read and read and read and read. But on the flip side, if I got a book like this, Hamlet, not so much. So what I'm getting at is everybody's different. And somebody who's interested in the trades, for example, just because they don't want to read this sort of thing or take these types of classes, I know many times you have to do that as part of your educational path. But just because somebody maybe doesn't get into reading this sort of book, that doesn't mean they don't want to read a book or they don't want to learn. They're just different. They like doing trade-related things. They like learning about trade-related things. They like working with their hands. They like learning and reading about how things work. So sometimes if you're a teacher, for example, and maybe there's somebody in the classroom that maybe even they're disruptive in the classroom, I think it's good to think about what that student is interested in. For example, if they did like something that was more working with their hands, the reason they're being disruptive is they're kind of bored in your class. So if there's a way to incorporate something for that particular student that is more in line with what they're interested in, I truly believe that all of a sudden that disruptive student isn't really a bad student. They're kind of bored and they're not interested in what's going on. So we need to make sure that we guide the students down the path that they'll not only be most successful in, but they'll be interested in. So we're kind of jumping forward here to high school years. So again, living in South Omaha, I could have gone to South High School. In fact, my two oldest siblings went to South. And then my next older brother went to Paul VI Catholic High School. He was on 16th and Center. So it was a little smaller school, well, a lot smaller than South High had probably 750 students in their classes. We had about 100 per class at Paula VI High School. So, but we didn't have some of the amenities that a different school had. So you hear Catholic high school, you shouldn't be thinking like, an elite type of private school. It truly wasn't. It was, it was a great school, but it was an inner city Catholic school, just like all the different Catholic grade schools in South Omaha. So in this case, you can kind of look at this view from above. You don't see a baseball field, for example, right? You don't see a football field. We didn't have those. We were landlocked on 16th and Center, and our track even, I ran track and cross country. It's funny because when we practiced track, we just ran around the block. That was, and 4 times around the block was a mile. So, but with all of that, we still had pretty good sports teams and things because all of us, that's what we had, period. We had a gym there, but nobody, moaned about, oh, we don't have enough or whatever. Everybody just gave their best effort in whatever they were doing and did pretty darn good. So, but that was Paula VI High School on 16th and Center. It's still there. I think I've got, yep, that's it these days, which is sad, but you can see, I mean, it's far from an elite private school. I mean, but I'm very proud of the fact that I went there, and the friends that I made at Paula VI are still some of my best friends right now. So me and my buddies are still all together. We still do things together. Our wives, luckily, all like each other, despite the fact that they're with us. So it's just a fun group. We're very proud of where we grew up. If we're out somewhere, Chops Bowling Alley or Dinker's Bar or whatever, there's always people from the school that are in there. So we're a very tight-knit group. Again, going back to the sense of community, that's what Paula VI High School was like and still is like. It's been closed for probably 40 years, but still the same thing. If somebody passes away, for example, or a parent or even a classmate, the church is usually full of people from all different grades that come back. We again, community. It never goes away. So here's Mr. Capisi. He was our business teacher at Paula VI, and he became, I think, the administrator our senior year. So he is the person who, we didn't have any shop classes. Going back to South High School, I was going to go to South High School because they did have shop classes. So coming out of 8th grade, I'm going to go to South. They have automotive. They have wood shop. They have metal shop. But then I changed my mind at the last minute, and in my mind, thank goodness, and I went to Paula VI, even though they didn't have all those shop classes. So senior year, Tom Capisi here, he comes up with a connection with Metro Community College, where he offers us the opportunity to go do a small engines class. I think it was Thursday afternoons. So it was kind of an elective, and man, my hand shot up so fast. Put me in that class. So he did, and it was at the Fort Omaha campus out here, and I could not get enough of that class. My other classes, my senior year, my classmates can attest to the fact that not so good. So again, that was lack of effort on my part, and I was wrong, but the reality was I couldn't wait to get to that class that Mr. Capisi set up with Metro Community College. That's what started it all for me. In fact, a couple friends who shall remain nameless actually signed up for the class too. And there was a time where they said, hey, nobody's going to know. Let's skip the class. This Thursday, we'll leave the high school and we can skip. I'm like, no way. I'm not doing it because I wanted to go to the class so bad. It was nothing to do with getting in trouble. I just wanted to go to the class. So thank you, Mr. Capisi. After I got out of high school, I started taking collision related classes here at Metro Community College in the Mule Barn. Now this is the Mule Barn as it looks as it appears now. This is what the mule barn looks like. But when I went there, it was not like this. But the collision program was in the mule barn. Again, couldn't get enough of it. Started taking classes there and worked my way through. And like so many other students, which this is something we work on all the time now in my role and advisors and everybody, having people take their gen ed classes. Many times people who are in the trade-related classes, they'll take all their trade-related classes, they'll get hired on somewhere, and they think, well, I'll come back to that. And they don't come back and finish up those gen eds and things to get their degree. But that's something that we really try hard to, on our end now, to make sure that we just incorporate those gen eds in with their class schedules and tell them, look, you just knock them out now because you're going to be happy you did. And most times they do. So when I got to Metro and I started taking classes, again, mine were collision related, but then I took some automotive related classes too. I went from being in my mom's garage, maybe with a piece of sandpaper and just manually sanding down on the side of a car, and then getting spray paint at Kmart, for those of you old enough to know what Kmart is or was, and kind of puff some paint on there, make it look good. That's how I started. But then when I got to Metro, obviously these pictures are at our new automotive training facility, which is light years ahead of anything related to the mule barn or anything before. But even in the mule barn, my opportunity to use let me get back to it. My opportunity to use a sander, for example, like this, rather than just standing with my hands, and being able to paint in a paint booth, all those sorts of things, again, just thrilled me and got me going on my career path. So it's so important that Metro has such great facilities, because when somebody like me gets to come into different labs like that, and in this case, in the upper right here, you can see all those tools in our automotive training center. All the tools are provided for them to use while they're in school. So it's just great. We didn't have a ton of money growing up, and I never would have had tools to get started in class. So Metro being able to supply tools for you to use and equipment and all that sort of thing lets somebody who maybe doesn't have a whole lot of resources to get started in a trade. And this I just wanted to throw in because I'll use it as an example. I was a collision tech, but people in the trades really need to take pride in what they do. They're not, oh, you just do that, or you just do that. There's no just do that. I mean, something like this, it takes a special person to take a collision like that, disassemble that vehicle, basically re-engineer it, repair it properly to the specifications that the automaker made from the very beginning, get everything back in shape like it should be, and get that back to the family that owns that vehicle in a safe manner. So if they go back out on the road, that family is safe out on the road. People in the trades should take great pride in what they do every day, because I guarantee you, not everybody can do what you're doing. Okay, here is my wife. So she comes into the picture when I'm wrapping up classes at Metro Community College. I can't say enough about her in my life. She's been such a great addition to my life. She's smart, she's funny, she's always there for me, for example. And she believed in me. So that was a huge thing, So she comes into my life around then when I'm wrapping up at Metro Community College. And to say that was life-changing, we're going to celebrate our 41st anniversary this weekend. Thank you. I hope she's watching. So happy anniversary in case I forget on Sunday, Nancy. I think it's Sunday. It's the 25th. So then I go to work at Charlie Graham. It was at 42nd and Leavenworth. Long timers around Omaha know where that was. I was a collision tech at Charlie Graham when I went to work there. And after I started at Charlie Graham, I went a few years, and then I started thinking, I think I might want to start looking into getting into management, in the collision industry. So guess where I went? Metro Community College. They were always there for me in the past, and they were there for me at that time too. So I went there and started taking some classes related to obviously finance, human relations, accounting 1, 2, and 3. Business classes, communications, all of those. And I can promise you, when I was in high school, if they would have given me an accounting class, I wouldn't have done well in that because it is what it is. I wasn't interested in it, but by this time in my life, I'd grown up a bit. I realized the importance of learning accounting, and I got good grades in all my classes from that point going forward. So after going through those classes at Metro, then Nancy and I, my wife, had a great opportunity to purchase the company. So the two owners, who were Arnie Vicandy and Les Maines, gave us the opportunity, along with another couple, to buy the shop in 1987. So we talked about it, Nancy and I did, and we said, we're crazy, we're 27 years old, or whatever, 26 years old, I guess, at the time. What are we doing? But I think we were just young enough to think, let's go for it. And we also said, you know what? She was working at First Data at the time. I was a collision tech. You know what? If this doesn't work out, we'll just go back to doing what we were doing before. But if we don't try it, we'll never know. So we went for it. And after, I think it was a couple of years, I bought my partner out, and then we moved forward from there. And it was about 30 years we owned the shop together. So thankful to the Omaha community, all of our employees, and especially our customers over the years that supported us. That was unbelievable. So again, I'm going back to my community theme now with the pictures up here. When I owned the shop, I definitely continued on that community, sense of community. So, we'd always decorate the shops with Christmas decorations. We'd have students come through for tours. On the bottom is Project Santa that we would do with the Open Door Mission every year. We would help with fundraisers. It was just great to be involved with the community. So not only was it just fun to be involved, but I truly had the sense that you need to give back to the community that supports you. So we certainly tried our best to do that. Also, on the community theme, I got involved with our business association in Midtown Omaha too. So the Midtown Business Association was a group of about 150 small, medium, and large businesses like the Med Center and Mutual of Omaha. Creighton University were part of our business association. So I worked with that business association for many years too. This picture here was called Destination Midtown, which was a planning program that we put together. So it was not only our business association, it was the city of Omaha, it was all the residents of Midtown Omaha, the neighborhood associations. We all came together and really worked hard for a number of years to come up with a comprehensive master plan for Midtown Omaha. So not only from a development standpoint, but also from a neighborhood standpoint. It took years to put together, and this is when we were announcing the results of that master plan. HCR was the company that headed up the master plan process. So it was a ton of work, but now that master plan is incorporated into the city of Omaha's master plan. So anything that you see going on in Midtown Omaha now that all kind of connects back to that master plan that we put together. Shoot, it's been almost 20 years ago now. So, and with the business association and being involved with the community too, it wasn't all fun and games type of thing. We had a few times where maybe we had a problem in the area, like at one point at 40th and Farnham, before it really turned over and into what it is now, which is unbelievable. But there was a bar in the area, for example, and they were having some issues there, and there were some shootings. And anyway, not to rehash all that, but I had to represent, our business association all the way to the state level, the State Liquor Commission, and testify and do all that. So, yeah, there was some fear at that time because I didn't know what might happen to me during that time. But again, I would what I tried to do was just do what was right for the community, and sometimes you just have to do that. You have to stand up and do the right thing. So I would recommend to anybody that's thinking about career choices and all that, getting involved with different types of associations is definitely the way to go. It's not only interesting and it can be super fun, but it's great to network. It's good for your long-term career to get as many connections as you can. So definitely look into any and all types of organizations that are available out there, no matter what different career path you go down, including the Omaha Chamber has like a young professionals society or group, or can't remember what they call it, but young professionals. There's plenty of opportunities. Go for it and get involved. Even if it takes you out of your comfort zone, it's good for you. Okay, I did this for about 17 years with Channel 6. It was called The Auto Guy. So this was fun. Sometimes TV stations would come down and they would kind of do a quick interview on, maybe it was a snowy day and there were a lot of wrecks, so they'd come down and interview me and do a quick little snippet for the news or whatever. Well, then I was talking to Channel 6 at one point, and we were talking about, hey, what if we did a segment, that is just me doing car tips, every once in a while. And they're like, yeah, let's look into that. So I'll tell you what, going from being interviewed and answering questions to standing in front of a camera like this and just point blank, start your segment, go through your whole segment, and then close out your segment, it was night and day difference. But it was fun. I had to come up with the topics for all the different segments. I had to write the scripts. I had to get all the props for the segments. That's Mike Plews there with me. He was the photographer and producer from Channel 6. He just happened to be there that day, and we took a funny picture. But they would just show up with their cameras and lights, and we would shoot the thing, and away we would go. So I did, I don't know, between 400 and 500 segments over the years. So fun memories. That was fun to do. Really? Oh. Love it. Somebody remembers that. So then, this was the headline in the Omaha World Herald where we sold the shop. So it was very bittersweet. It was hard to figure out whether we should or shouldn't do it. But the reality was we were right on the corner, the northwest corner of 42nd and Leavenworth. We had been there, the building had been there since 1942. It was a hinky-dinky building, for those of you, again, old enough to even know what hinky-dinky is, but it was a supermarket. So then it got changed into an automotive shop, Charlie Graham, and so in any event, everybody knows how the Med Center was expanding and needing space and all that. And I could tell you unequivocally, the Med Center was a great neighbor to us. We serviced all their vehicles. They never pushed me out. They said, when you're ready, we want to talk to you. But I was never pushed out by the Med Center, that's for sure. But the reality was I had somebody come up who was interested in buying the company. And the city wanted to put a turn lane in on my corner too, which would have effectively taken half my parking lot. So between the other company wanting to buy the business, the city wanting to put a turn lane in, and the med center wanting to buy the property, all three stars aligned at that time. And we said, okay, so we did. And what they did was, there were a lot of different deals we had to put together to make it all work. But one was doing a land swap with the property that was catty corner from us on 42nd and Leavenworth, so that the new owners could build a new building over there. So the med center owned that property. So one of the deals we had to make was, again, that land swap to make it all work, and it did. So the other building over there on the southeast corner of 42nd and Leavenworth now is where Charlie Graham moved to. So here I come to the med center, to Metro. After I sold the company, I stayed with the new company for about a year to help them transition. And then I was able to come on board with Metro Community College, which is what I really wanted to do. So came on board with Metro, and then eventually they came up with a need at Metro that was related to what we call sponsorships. So we had industry partners who wanted to send their employees to training at Metro. But sometimes, whether it was the industry partner or the employee/student, whoever it was, sometimes they would kind of fall into, I'll call it the abyss, sometimes, of getting lost at Metro, trying to figure out how to get registered, how to get enrolled, what classes do we need to take, how do we get our books at the bookstore and bill it to the company. So Scott Brody is who I work with, our dean here for the career and technical education. And Scott came up with this idea about sponsorship and a pathway coordinator. So that was my role. It was new to Metro. He gave me the idea and the tasks that need to be done and the goals that need to be achieved. And we came up with a system, basically, where I'm the point of contact for an industry partner that's looking to do some training at Metro. Again, think apprenticeship type training. So the industry partner reaches out to me. I help them try to recruit new employees when possible, or take employees that are already working for them, maybe at more of an entry-level position, and upskill them to the level they need to be at to really have a high-wage type of job where they're really, I mean, they're set for life once they learn these skills at Metro Community College. So it's not only just for high school students coming out that are thinking about what to do, but even people who are in their 30s who maybe they've been working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, whatever, trying to make ends meet. If we can get them hooked up with an employer who's got a job that one job will pay enough that they don't need a second job, why not get them trained and at the level they need to be at to make some money? So that's what we try to do. So these flyers kind of explain how a sponsorship program works. If anybody wants more information about sponsorships, they can certainly reach out to me later. So this is, again, we're going back to community, but this is what I like about my job. So if you look up here, for example, that's our most recent signing day. Signing day is when we bring in new sponsorship students who are getting all their training paid for by their employer. We have them come up on stage one by one with their employers, sign on the line. We take pictures just like a high school student who's signing to go play football somewhere, for example. It's a really fun event, and we have it every year. We have other ones that are, this was our automotive career exploration day, manufacturing career exploration day, another automotive day. This was our Metro Trades Invitational that we have once a year, which is related to Skills USA. Again, just so many opportunities for the community to get involved. And I consider also, obviously, our industry partners that's a whole nother community as well. So there's our bigger community, and then there's micro communities within that where, we've got local high schools, we've got students, we've got industry partners, and then we just got the bigger community, which is Metro Community College. So my role here is to connect all those different communities basically and try to make them work as seamlessly as possible. Here's an example of, this isn't even all of them, but many of the companies that I currently work with in the Omaha areas. So all these companies, and these are really just the South Omaha campus. We've got also a pathway coordinator now like me at the Fort Omaha campus as well. So every year there's just more and more companies that are getting involved with sponsorship type programs. And a lot of that is because that's the reality of what workforce looks like right now. There's a lot of people who are retiring, and there's just not enough coming in currently to fill those gaps. So for industry to go out and just put an ad out and try to get somebody with experience to come on board and come to work for them, they still do that, but it's harder and harder to find those people. A sponsorship program allows them to take somebody at more of an entry-level position, again, train them at Metro, pay for all their training, team them up with a mentor at work who is experienced, because when they're taking training at Metro, at the same time that they're working on the job, the speed with which they learn is much, much faster than if they go all the way through our program and then go to work for somebody. We want them teamed up with an industry partner from the get-go whenever possible. They just learn so much more effectively. Okay, and here's this. I wanted to play this because I think it speaks to what we're talking about here. This was on Channel 3 recently, and it talks about up in Fremont High School. And just listen to this young man as he describes his experience with doing some carpentry. It just really, it reminded me of me, frankly.
They're not just building a home, they're laying the foundation for a successful career. I'm Alex Whitney here in Fremont, where students are getting firsthand experience in the trades that for some is already translating into a job after they graduate. Levi DeBoer isn't your average high school senior.
We have to finish our siding up a little bit, and we're putting our soffit and fascia boards on. I like learning, but I don't like sitting in a classroom. So this way I get to work with my hands and build something, and I get to see the progress as I go.
Levi and his classmates are starting the final stretch of a new home build. It's a new project for Fremont High, made possible by its state-of-the-art Career and Technical Education Center.
Last year we had a different shop, so we built stick houses, like little balsa stick houses, and to take the kids that built that last year and take them to build a full-fledged house this year, that's kind of incredible.
Levi and his classmates aren't just getting valuable real-world experience, but a foot in the door of the skilled trades industry.
It means a lot, really. Like I said, there's not a lot of young kids pursuing the trades anymore, so we can get them exposed to it.
And for Levi, that experience quickly turned into a job offer.
I worked with Fremont Electric, which set me up for the job as an electrician. So I'll do that after school, and then I also started a handyman business.
This past school year, 8 students signed on for Mr. Novotny's class. Next year, he already has 28 ready to go. For Levi, this is his last week at Fremont High School before he graduates, and he's leaving with a lot more than just a diploma.
Starting this class, I've never even framed a wall, and now there's a whole house that a family's going to live in, and they're going to grow and have a good time.
Fremont and its partners in the community are already committed to continuing this program for the long term, and they have 4 more homes they're planning to build. Reporting here in Fremont, Alex Whitney.
That was awesome. I love that word. He mentions I like to learn, I just don't like sitting in a classroom. So again, many of us can relate to that. So kind of wrapping up my last slide here, but I want to say thank you for this opportunity more than anything to come and speak. I am more than willing to speak to anyone that wants to reach out to me. If you have any questions, comments, any way I can help you, please reach out. I'm sure they can connect you to I'll just mention my email, jchampion at mccneb.edu. So, and again, thank you for this opportunity today. And then as I look around here, all the different, I can't say thank you to every single person in my past, but I would like to. But it just makes me smile when I look up there and see all the different things from my past. So I hope that my presentation made sense to you. I just really wanted to concentrate on the fact that community has always meant a lot to me. And hopefully your community going forward will mean a lot to you as well. So do we have any questions or anything? Great. We've got one.
When you and your wife took over Charlie Graham, what did you find was one of your main obstacles you overcame?
Okay, the question was, when we took over Charlie Graham, what was one of the main obstacles that we overcame? I would say for me personally was just the experience of owning a business. So many times, I think in the trades especially, you think, I know how to do this in the trades, I can do this, I know how to run a business. They are two different things. There are a lot of parallels between the two, but there's also a lot to knowing how to run a business. The different, from making payroll to different types of accounting actions and quarterly tax returns and all of that sort of thing. Again, I'm pointing to this lovely lady right here, my wife. She was always, is always, the brains kind of behind the curtain, so to speak, with the business. She didn't get enough credit for everything all of the success that we had over the years, because she, wasn't at the shop every day, but she was the one keeping everything going in the background. So having her there helped me a ton. Plus the two former owners were around too to help mentor me. So I'm always deeply appreciative of that as well. And again, I think getting involved with the business association, for example, and those sorts of things were ways that I was able to kind of work my way through some of those issues going forward. You figure it out eventually, but there's no replacement for experience.
How important of a role does networking play in your career journey?
Okay, the question was, how important of a role is networking in your career journey? To me, I consider it a very big, networking is a very big part, an important part of your career journey. So it's not that you're always going around trying to meet all kinds of people so you can find a different job or career, for example. There's just so much that you can learn from others, even if you're staying in your same job. Networking and going to events and getting involved doesn't mean necessarily you're trying to find a new job or trying to meet people who can help you work your way up. There's just so much information to be had from other people, no matter what, younger than you, older than you, it doesn't matter. So that's why I always think networking is so important. And going to a networking event, for example, and actually engaging with other people that are there is very important too. If that's something that makes you feel uncomfortable, then that's a good way to be uncomfortable for a little while. Go up and shake somebody's hand and say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and tell me a little bit about what you do at your company, So it's just a great way to meet people, learn from others, and then even when you go back to work, then I think some of those pushing yourself and getting out there and being uncomfortable, that's going to help you on the job every day too.
Is there any piece of advice that stuck with you through your career, just kind of helping guide the direction of your career, or any piece of advice that you give students or others that are thinking about their career pathway?
Okay, yeah. The question is there any type of advice that I would give to anybody to kind of take with you every day, right, on your job and your career? It's going to sound so cliche, but treat others like you expect to be treated. But let's just start there. And I think just work hard. You don't have to work like a crazy maniac all day long, but be ready to work when you get to work, work all day long, do what you said you were going to do what you're supposed to do, and then sometimes even your attitude towards just getting it done day in and day out, people will start coming on board with you, and that's going to be the people you work around and stuff. Maybe there's kind of a negativity in the wherever you work, in the area where you work. But sometimes if you just close that off, just keep working, do what you need to do, hit it hard every day, then sooner or later, I've found the other people kind of come along and they jump on board with you, and then all of a sudden you're kind of lifting everybody in the area.
And building the sponsorship program here at Metro, were there any obstacles you had to overcome?
Okay, in building sponsorships here at Metro, were there any obstacles that I had to overcome? Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing was there wasn't anything like it yet. So it was kind of trying to figure it out, the pieces of the puzzle. And what was hard for me was I came from industry. That was my whole career, was not at Metro and not in academia, however you want to say it, not in that world. So I came to Metro, and then it was, we need you to do this, and certain aspects of it, especially the industry side, I'm like, okay, we need to do this, this, and this. But then when it came to the Metro side, I'm like, oh, I need some help here. So I would say probably implementing what I thought and was pretty confident were the needs of industry partners with the inner workings of Metro Community College. That was probably some of the hardest things. So I didn't hesitate to reach out to others that I work with, though. And sometimes I kind of, crept down the hallway like, I'm going to bug Heather again. I'm going to ask her a question, but I had to find out. And I felt bad sometimes, because I was asking questions but I didn't know. And if you don't know, you got to go to somebody that does know. And hopefully you don't ask the same questions over and over again, but I know that I've done that in the past, and my apologies to everybody I've done that to. Well, good. Again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me out here today.